The Minnesota Timberwolves have been left without a true identity since they let Jimmy Butler go in 2018. Karl Anthony Towns is clearly not the kind of guy that's a vocal leader, a guy to uplift everybody on the team. However, he is a pretty good talent. The team hasn't had a real vet or mentor type of player to be the voice of reason and guidance for this young squad. Now, with no LeBron, KD, or Wembanyama type player in the 2020 NBA draft, the Timberwolves couldn't afford to miss. Their window is going to start opening in a few years, and it starts with this #1 overall pick now. Of course, hindsight is always 2020, and it's safe to say the Timberwolves did not miss with their pick.
With the first pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Anthony Edwards from the University of Georgia.
The 2020 draft was not deep by any means, and honestly, it was one of the weirder drafts as it was in the middle of the pandemic. For a lot of the year, James Wiseman was the consensus #1 overall pick. That is until he was suspended from playing at Memphis, and Anthony Edwards wowed the world at UGA. A long, athletic two-guard that averaged almost 20 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, and 2.8 assists on 40, 29, and 77% shooting splits. He was obviously raw at a young age, but he was a guy that showed so much promise and potential. And Anthony Edwards, he shot up the draft boards and was quickly viewed as the next #1 pick. And that soon came to be true. In his rookie year, he showed us his freakish yet effortless athleticism and skill while getting some posters in the process. The Timberwolves weren't a competitive team by any means, but Anthony Edwards, he looked to be a match made in heaven for Karl Anthony Towns as the next duo in Minnesota. Watching Anthony Edwards truly reminded me of a young Vince Carter, a player with freakish athleticism coming into the league, but he didn't really have a jumper. And the next season, Vince Carter came back with a very good jumper. And I thought Anthony Edwards could do the exact same thing, but be even better because he had that proverbial chip on his shoulder that, let's face it, I don't think Vince Carter had. After Anthony Edwards' rookie year, the only real criticism was that he couldn't shoot. And honestly, it wasn't that he couldn't shoot. He just needed to be more efficient. And as a rookie with time to develop, we already knew his efficiency would come along, and every year since, he has improved. This season, he took on a bigger role with Cat out majority of the year due to a calf, and needless to say, he was very, very comfortable in this role as a primary scorer. He averaged 24.6 points per game, 4.4 assists, and 5.8 rebounds on 45, 37, and 75 shooting splits. His shooting percentages are getting better, but with each year, Anthony Edwards has shown improvement in his game overall. As a rookie, he averaged just 2.9 assists a game, and in 2 years, he has risen that by almost 2 assists while shooting more than he has in his whole career. I personally believe that if Cat was healthy, he would probably average more assists this year as well. In the latter half of the year, the ball started to be in Anthony Edwards' hands more as the Timberwolves traded D'Lo, and you can see his playmaking had been improving. This year, we've seen a different, more mature Edwards both on and off the court. Like I said before, Vince Carter didn't seem like one of those guys that had that chip on his shoulder, that competitive edge that Anthony Edwards has. Anthony Edwards has a sort of competitive drive that you can see it, you feel it. It's a sort of aura that he presents and you know it's there. Not every player in the league has that. He's explained before that, he battles with learning to stay off the ball when he needs to. He's one of those guys where any shot he puts up, it looks like it's coming out of the bottom of the net. So personally, I can understand him having the sentiment of, being told when he needs to be off the ball because there's times where you can't be on ball. You have to get to your spot off of the ball. We see it with Steph Curry on a nightly basis. To add to his explosive offensive game, Anthony has taken on the challenge this year to not only defend the best player on the opposing team, but also defend multiple positions. He's the best player on a team looking for leadership, and after getting to the play-in and successfully retaining the 8th seed to play the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves have found themselves facing adversity and on the brink of their season being over. The Nuggets quickly went up 3-0 on the Timberwolves, and Anthony Edwards didn't really speak to the media after their latest loss. However, while the media was talking to Jalen Noel, You could hear Ant in the back picking his team up, telling them the series is not over, telling them it's the first of 4, not 3. He just continued to pour in words of inspiration for a team that was clearly defeated. And after watching that video, I personally had a moment of clarity in realizing that this is what Minnesota drafted him for. A lot of us talk about how Minnesota fumbled with Jimmy Butler, but when they got Anthony Edwards, they got a guy that he may be more talented and more skillful than Jimmy while having those same set of intangibles Jimmy did. Now, I'm not saying he's already on Jimmy's level. Don't take it there. But you get the sentiment. Anthony Edwards was drafted to be exactly who he was in that video. Now, obviously, it's very difficult to step immediately into that role coming into the league as a rookie, especially a young rookie at 19. And he had a couple of vets on the team at the time. But at this juncture, at this point, the team has pretty much gotten rid of majority of their vets, guys like D'Lo, Pat Bev. Gobert is not a vocal leader the way I see Anthony Edwards as being, and it took him a couple years to mature. He's just 3 years into his short career, but we're going to see Anthony Edwards change this team's culture and really flip around how this team moves and operates. In that one video alone where he's picking up his teammates, I felt the evolution in Edwards' maturity. The inflection in his voice made it known that even if Denver beat them in 4, it was going to be a hard-fought battle, and that's exactly what Anthony and the Timberwolves made it out to be. Jokic even said after the game that the Nuggets, they had an opportunity to close the series and that they were fighting, but despite their efforts, Anthony Edwards and the Grizzlies, they were desperate and they wanted that win. Jokic is one of the perfect guys to speak to this because he was just in the same position last year when he was missing his 2 superstars that are usually next to him, and he had to face the defending champion Golden State Warriors where they found themselves down 3-0, and instead of going out like some pussies, they fought, they won a game. Granted, they were out the next game, but they didn't go down losing. Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves, they're doing the same thing. Anthony Edwards led the team with 34 points, and he looked unstoppable in the 4th quarter and the clutch. And all of this while having a busted shoulder. I think a lot of us are forgetting his shoulder is fucked up right now. Obviously, the Timberwolves aren't making it past the first round, and I truly think Denver is about to close the series tonight. But Anthony Edwards has shown he's truly ready to take that next level into superstardom. He's gonna be the next tier of superstars next year. Anthony Edwards' 4th year is about to be special, something similar to that of what we saw Jaylen Brown do this year, but I think on a grander scale, because I think Anthony Edwards, he's a better talent than Jaylen Brown. There's no other way to put it. But regardless, that 4th year next year, something crazy. Regardless of how the Timberwolves do, regardless of anything else, Anthony Edwards is going to have an amazing year. The Timberwolves front office seems to be ran by whales sometimes, so I wouldn't be shocked if they somehow fumble Ant-Man in the future. Regardless, I'm putting all of you on notice. Well, actually, let me not say all of you, because I know a lot of you that follow me and subscribe to me. Thank you for that, first of all. Y'all are hoop purists, and I don't care if you don't want to be called that or not. That's what you are. And I know you are keeping tabs on Anthony Edwards, but for all you new subs and all you new watchers that aren't subbed yet, keep tabs on Anthony Edwards. He's the future. He's going to be one of the next great guards in the league. And I ain't going to lie to you, this might be a hot take. I don't give a fuck if it is. He's going to be better than Trae Young next year. Simple as that. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. Let me know what y'all think about Anthony Edwards. Let me know what y'all think about his future with the Timberwolves. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys in this one. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new. And as always, it's your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube. And I'm out. Peace.